In this episode recap of Season 28, which was the first elimination, and I'll tell you guys all about the new elimination as well as the voting details at the end of this video. So let's get into it. How's it going, guys? It's Eric Sharkey, aka Dance Bazaar Superfan, back with another video, and I'm going to be doing another episode recap video for week 2. So far, most of the contestants have improved dramatically, and some of them improved slightly, but not all of them are, but some of them did, and some of them not. Without further ado, let's get started. First up is last week's highest score of that night, James and Emma, where they did the cha-cha to Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie. Len thought it was another solid performance with crisp footwork, but it had too many gimmicks. When James did that jump trick, Len thought he was going to dance off the ceiling. Forget the gimmicks and dance. Bruno said he knows how to open big, but it was showy like a Broadway cha-cha. But he noticed that James missed a step. James explained that he accidentally stepped on the fog machine. Carrie-Anne thought it was a fantastic way to start the night. She might have seen an unauthorized lift, but she's not sure. So she's not going to hold it against James. Usually when you're first on the dance floor on Dance with the Stars, you get really nervous, like you're trying to get yourself situated. You're more used to dancing like second to last, actually. But James' dance was pretty good, to say the least. He had some really cool moves like he did in the first week, but he needs to do some regular dance routines for now and downsize the random dance moves. Maybe if they didn't do like the balloons dropping on the ballroom dance floor, maybe they wouldn't mess up a bit, but it was still good though. Just kind of like downsize on the random moves and just focus on the regular routines. Just kind of save it for the freestyle if you're in the finals. So the scores are Carrie-Anne a 7, Len a 6, Bruno a 7, which gives him a score 20 out of 30, and it gives him a 2-week total of 41. Next up is Sailor and Val doing the rumba to Señorita by Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabella. Bruno says that she has everything going for her, but he's going to give her tough love. She did all the moves, but she needs to link them, feel them, and express them. Carrie-Anne agrees with Bruno that she's lacking consistency. She has to set a tone and keep it that way, and was going too sensual to a little giddy. But she moves beautifully, which is good. Len said it was magnified. It was a nice performance and tells her to drive through the ball on your foot because she couldn't keep her foot off the floor and couldn't push through the floor. Overall, she did okay, but at least she got proper rehearsal time like we expected. I do have some faith in Sailor, but the dance didn't have much connection to it. So the scores are Carrie-Anne, Len, Bruno, they were all 6s, which gives them a score 18 out of 30. Gives them a 2-week total of 36. Next up is Ray and Cheryl, dancing to the Foxtrot to September by Earth, Wind and Fire. Carrie-Anne thinks he's so enjoyable to watch, but there were a ton of mistakes and he failed to glide through it. Len called him flat-footed and he had no rise and fall and went wrong numerous times, but his personality is going to get him a better score than he otherwise would have. Bruno said Ray lights up the room and he sold the routine despite all the errors. I felt like he did a little better than last week, but despite those mistakes, he was able to hang in there. And the scores are, they were all 5s, which gives him a score 15 out of 30, which many felt he didn't deserve that score. It probably could have been at least 2 6s or 1 5, but because of the mistakes, despite that, it just gave him the same score that he did last week. So which gives him a 2-week total of 30. Ali and Sasha, they did the Viennese Waltz to Iris by Goo Goo Dolls. Len thought it was a pretty good looking dance, but the routine kept stopping and starting, and she didn't know what she was doing with her feet. So it was pretty, but technically it wasn't good. Bruno assures her she can dance, and it had heartfelt moments, but she sometimes skipped through the dance and it lacked continuously. Carrie-Anne starts giving Ali a big hug. She tells Ali because she can see how much of an effect it's having on her. She actually improved this week like I expected. She was inspiring other people who were bullied when she was in Fifth Harmony. She was made fun of because most of the people didn't think she can dance when she was on Fifth Harmony. She wanted to show others, if you want to do something, then go out there and do it. Like if you're making fun of or bullied, just tell them that you can just go out there and experience it and do it. And the scores are Carrie-Anne a 7, Len a 6, Bruno a 7, which gives him a score 20 out of 30. Gives him a 2-week total of 36. Mary and Brandon did the Cha-Cha to Think by Aretha Franklin. Bruno called the performance simple, effective, and nicely presented. Len thought it was full of freedom, though she should straighten up her legs more. I felt like she fell off the map a little bit. I noticed that the footwork mistake during the routine, Brandon was on the other foot and Mary was on the wrong foot, but overall it wasn't really good to say the least. And the scores are Carrie Ann a 5, Len a 5, Bruno a 5, which gives them a score of 15 out of 30. Gives them a 2-week total of 32. Lauren and Gleb, where they danced to the Paso Doble to Confident by Demi Lovato. Carrie Ann loved seeing her come out of her shell, but her shoulders were too high, like near to the end. They took off her skirt, which meant was more open to her. Len thought it lacked a bit of shaping, and she might have gone in wrong places. Len also would have liked to see more Paso Doble elements, but Bruno also stated, Bruno loved it, and tells her, nasty suits you. It was convincing, even though it could have used more shaping. Even though in my eyes, she struggled a little bit in the Paso Doble, but she has to work on her shoulders a little more. And the scores are Carrie Ann a 6, Len a 6, Bruno a 7, which gives him a score 19 out of 30. Gives him a 2-week total of 38. Next up is Sean Spicer and Lindsay Arnold, where they did the tango to Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon. During the rehearsal package, Sean had been campaigning to try to get as many votes as possible. Len said it was better than last week. Bruno thought it looked like a real tango, though perhaps a little militaristic. Carrie Ann felt it was sure-footed and much improved. I felt like his dance was an improvement compared to last week, and plus it was Sean's birthday, so happy belated birthday, Sean. And the scores are Carrie Ann a 6, Len a 5, Bruno a 5, which gives him a score 16 out of 30. A 2-week total of 28. Karamo and Jenna Johnson, where they did the quick step to Let's Get Crazy by Prince and the Revolution, where he received support from his fiance and his mother-in-law, who was a ballroom dance teacher, where she wasn't happy with the way the judges scored them. Bruno praised Karamo's panic and flair, but he needs more body contact. Carrie Ann says that's what she was hoping for, and she also said he was electrifying. But Len wasn't a big fan. He felt like he was flying around and it was hectic, and there was an absolute lack of body contact. Now, that's a slight improvement compared to last week, but he needs to work on his body contact a little more. And the scores are Carrie Ann a 7, Len a 5, Bruno a 7, which gives him a score 19 out of 30. Gives him a 2-week total of 36. Kate and Pasha, they did the foxtrot to Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. Carrie Ann thought it was amazing. She was blown away by Flannery's technique. And she reminded Carrie Ann of past contestant Kelly Osbourne. Len liked the music, the routine, the improvement from last week, and he even liked Pasha's proper outfit. Bruno concludes, Mission Foxtrot accomplished, well done, where he did a quote where all the astronauts said, Houston, Houston. Honestly, I wasn't expecting her to do as good, but I have to give Pasha a lot of credit. Great job. The scores are, they were all 7s, which gives them a score 21 out of 30. Gives them a 2-week total of 36. Next up is Kale and Whitney. Len likes seeing nice, easy action and all of the proper samba steps. There were problems, but he did a really good job. Bruno felt it had a naturalness about it. It felt easy, but he thought it needed more bounce. Carrie Ann thought he was so smooth, but some of the bounces became thrusts. Kale actually improved so much in my eyes, just exactly like I was expecting from him. Like I said, he has a lot of potential. And the scores are Carrie Ann a 7, Len a 6, Bruno a 7, which gives him a score 20 out of 30, so that's an improvement from last week, which gives him a 2-week total of 36. Lamar and Peta, they did the salsa to Come Coma by Daddy Yankee featuring Snow. Bruno thought he was more relaxed and he had more freedom of movement, so it was a step in the right direction. Carrie Ann thought he was good solo, but he had trouble with the lifts and in the hold. Len compliments Peta for her efforts and didn't see any mistakes. Though Lamar still has ways to go, well, at least he improved a tiny bit, like I said in my first episode recap, but at least the judges didn't see any mistakes. At least the judges were not really harsh towards him. And the scores are, they were all 4s, which gives him a score 12 out of 30. Gives him a 2-week total of 23. And lastly, Hannah Brown and Alan Bernstein, where they did the Viennese Waltz to Lover by Taylor Swift. It's funny how Hannah went first last week and James went last, so the producers switched them, which is kind of funny. Carrie Ann says, you whisked her away, and it was ridiculously good. Len would have liked more natural turns instead of just reverse turns. She had lovely musicality through her arms, and he said, lastly, best dance of the night. Bruno said, now we are in business. Pure American beauty. And she finished her lines correctly, and he was transported into a romantic dream. That Viennese waltz that Hannah and Alan did was my favorite dance of that night, and I remember being glued to the TV, and I was so amazed by it. It was smooth, perfect, the lines were spectacular, and they didn't miss a single step. There were like other Bachelor Nation contestants that were in the audience watching Hannah as well as last week, especially Chris Harrison, who was in the audience a couple days ago, was actually supporting Hannah just like a father, like applauding to her, like standing up, like supporting his daughter, even though Chris Harrison is not his daughter. So thank you, Chris, for all the support that you did. So which gives them a score, Carrie Ann an 8, Len an 8, Bruno an 8, which gives them a score 24 out of 30. Which gives them a 2-week total of 44, which means Hannah and Alan got the first 8s of the season and the first 3 8s of that season. Before we get into the result of who is safe or eliminated, let's look at the leaderboard. Hannah and Alan at the top of the leaderboard with 24 points, Kate and Pasha with 21 points, James and Emma with 20 points, Ali and Sasha with 20 points, Kel and Whitney with 20 points, a 3-way tie for third, Lauren and Gleb with 19 points, Karamo and Jenna with 19 points, Sailor and Val with 18 points, Sean and Lindsay with 16 points, Mary and Brandon with 15 points, Ray and Cheryl with 50 points as well, and Lamar and Peta with 12 points. And combined those both weeks are Hannah and Alan with 44 points, James and Emma with 41 points, Lauren and Gleb in third place with 38 points, Ali and Sasha in fourth place with 36 points, Karamo and Jenna with 36 points, Kate and Pasha with 36 points, Kale and Whitney with 36 points, and also Sailor and Val with 36 points, Mary and Brandon with 32 points, Ray and Cheryl with 32 points, Sean and Lindsay with 28 points, and Lamar and Peta with 23 points. Now I will tell you guys who is safe or who is in jeopardy. To be honest, when Lamar was the first one announced safe, I was shocked. And I don't know how he was safe. Maybe it was probably because of his fan base, like I don't know. Also James Vanderbeek, Ali Brooke, Karamo, as well as Sean Spicer, and I guess with a slight improvement and a little campaigning in between, it really paid off for him. So are Hannah Brown, Sailor, Brinkley Cook, Kale Mitchell, and Lauren Elena, and Kate Flannery. The bottom two are Mary Wilson and Ray Lewis. Just like in Strictly Come Dancing, where they do a judges save, but now we have a judges save, which means the judges can decide who to eliminate. Personally, I like the judges save, by the way. Carrie Ann chooses Mary and Brandon to be saved, while Bruno chooses Ray and Cheryl. So that left Len with the deciding vote because he's the head judge. He knows that he has to judge from his heart and his brain, and it was very tough for him, but for his brain, he decided to save Ray and Cheryl, which meant Mary and Brandon were the first to go home. My gut prediction was right at first, like she would be gone the first or second week, but by doing so well in the Foxtrot last week, I thought she would beat all the odds. But next week, my prediction would be Lamar and Peta would be eliminated just in case if they don't improve. Sean and Lindsay or Ray and Cheryl, depending on the votes. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think Lamar or Sean would have been eliminated over Mary? And let me know in the comments down below, who do you want to eliminate next? And because I thought it was going to be Lamar going home, but next week is movie night, so stay tuned. And that'll do it for this video. So hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and leave a like on this video, and turn on post notifications for my next video. And make sure to tune in for my next video next time for my next Dance with the Stars content video. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Eric Sharkey, aka Dance with the Stars Superfan. Catch you next time.